A millionaire is diagnosed with a terminal illness, and no one believed the crazy things he did. It was a cold November morning when James Bennett's life took an unexpected turn. James, a 52-year-old man known for his immense wealth and business acumen, had always been a symbol of success and stability. His businesses thrived, his properties multiplied, and his life seemed like an unattainable dream for most. It all started with a persistent cough that he initially ignored. As the weeks went by, the cough worsened, accompanied by inexplicable fatigue. Finally, convinced by his wife Emily, he decided to see a doctor. At the clinic, Dr. Cooper, a renowned oncologist, greeted him with a grave look. After a series of tests, the devastating diagnosis came: advanced stage lung cancer. James felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. He, who had always controlled everything around him, was now at the mercy of an unforgiving disease. "Mr. Bennett, I regret to inform you, but the cancer is in a very advanced stage. Treatment may prolong your life, but we cannot talk about a cure," said the doctor, his voice firm but filled with empathy. James, stunned, looked at Emily, who held his hand tightly, trying to hold back her tears. "How long do I have in?" he asked, his voice hoarse and trembling. "It's hard to say precisely, but perhaps a year with luck," the doctor replied, his gaze softening as he saw the impact of his words. James left the clinic in a state of shock. He, who had always planned every step of his life, now had a death sentence hanging over his head. Upon arriving home, he sat on the porch and gazed at the horizon, his mind swirling with ideas and contradictory emotions. Emily, worried, tried to console him. "James, we'll face this together. We'll go through the treatment. Look for alternatives. Don't lose hope," she said, her voice laden with determination. But after a few weeks of reflection, James decided he didn't want to spend his final months in hospitals, suffering through aggressive treatments. "Emily, I've decided. I'm going to live the time I have left to the fullest without regrets. I'm going to fulfill all my dreams and crazy ideas," he declared, his voice firm and resolute. Emily, initially shocked, tried to argue. "Are you serious? We can't just give up. What if there's a chance of a cure?" "I'd rather live one intense year than spend 2 years suffering," James responded without hesitation, and so began James's journey. He made a list of all his unfulfilled dreams and started turning them into reality. His first big crazy move was to buy a private island in the Caribbean. He had always dreamed of having a paradisiacal retreat, far from the corporate world and social pressures. Within less than a month, he was on his island, accompanied by Emily, who reluctantly decided to support him. "James, are you sure about this?" "What if you need medical care?" Emily asked as they walked along the white sandy beach. "I've hired a medical team to stay here with us. I'm determined to do this, Emily. Trust me," he replied with a serene smile. The island was a paradise on earth. James invested in building a luxurious house, complete with all the amenities he and Emily could need. They spent their days swimming in the crystal-clear sea, exploring the island and enjoying each other's company. "You always knew how to surprise me, James," Emily said one night as they watched the sunset together. "This is just the first of many surprises, my love," James replied, kissing her gently. After a few months on the island, James felt a deep desire to revisit his roots. He was born in a small town in the interior, where he spent his childhood before his family moved to the capital. He decided it was time to return and reconnect with his past. "Let's take a trip down memory lane, Emily. I want to see where I grew up, meet old friends and feel the simplicity of life again," he said, already excited about the idea. Emily, always by his side, agreed. "I think it's a wonderful idea. It will be good for you." In James's hometown, he reconnected with childhood friends, visited the old family house, and spent hours talking with local residents, reminiscing about stories and moments long buried in his memory. One night, during a dinner with his old friends, James made a toast to the memories we keep and the new ones we're creating. To life, which is short but full of precious moments, he declared, emotional. During his stay in his hometown, James met someone who had deeply marked his youth, Sarah, his first love. They had parted ways when James moved to the capital, but they never forgot each other. The reunion was casual but charged with emotion. "Sarah, I can't believe it. It's been so long," James exclaimed, surprised to see her in a local cafe. "James, you're here. It's a miracle," Sarah replied with a radiant smile. They spent hours talking, reminiscing about old times and catching up on each other's lives. Sarah was now a school teacher, married with children. Despite the changes in their lives, the connection between them was still strong. "You will always be special to me, Sarah," James said, holding her hand. "You too, James. And knowing you're living life to the fullest makes me happy," Sarah replied, with tears in her eyes. After weeks immersed in memories and reconnections, James and Emily decided it was time to return home. Time was passing quickly, and James wanted to ensure he left a meaningful legacy. "Emily, we need to talk about the future. I want you to be safe and supported when I'm gone," James said as they drove back to the city. "Don't talk like that, James. We still have time," she replied, trying to keep hope alive. "Yes, but I need to plan. I'm going to create a fund to support causes that are important to us, like education and healthcare," he explained, determined to make a difference. And so James began working on his legacy, dedicating himself to creating a charitable fund that would benefit countless people. He felt that despite his illness, he still had much to offer the world. As time was running out, James decided to fulfill one last wish, to travel around the world. He and Emily embarked on an epic journey, visiting places they had always dreamed of seeing. "Let's live each moment intensely, Emily. I want this trip to be unforgettable," James said as they set off. They visited Paris, sailed the Mediterranean, explored the ruins of Egypt, and marveled at the Great Wall of China. Each destination brought new experiences and strengthened their bond. "Thank you for being by my side, Emily. You made all of this possible," James said emotionally as they gazed at the stars in an African desert. "I would do it all again, James. You are my everything," Emily replied, tears of gratitude in her eyes. While in Tokyo, James received an unexpected call. It was Dr. Cooper with surprising news. "James, we had a re-evaluation of your tests and it appears there was a mistake. The original diagnosis was wrong. You don't have cancer." James remained silent, processing the information. "What? This is unbelievable." "I know it's a shock. I want you to come to the clinic for more tests, but it looks like you're healthy," the doctor explained cautiously. James hung up the phone, still stunned. "Emily, you won't believe this. I'm not sick. It was a mistake." Emily hugged him, tears of relief streaming down her face. "This is a miracle, James." Back in the United States, James underwent a series of tests that confirmed the news. He was healthy and free of the disease. The news spread quickly, and many people questioned his craziness after the incorrect diagnosis. "You're a hero, James. You did everything you wanted without fear," his friend said. James, now with a new perspective on life, decided to continue his philanthropic work. "My life changed completely, but now I know the value of each moment. I will continue to make a difference," he said with conviction. James spent the following years dedicating himself to charity, investing in social projects, and helping underserved communities. His near-death experience profoundly transformed him, and he became a symbol of resilience and generosity. "Each day is a gift, and I want to use my time to create a better world," James declared in a speech to a standing ovation from the crowd. And so, James Bennett, the millionaire who faced death head-on, transformed his life and the lives of many others. He proved that even in the face of adversity, true wealth lies in living fully and helping others. As the years went by, James continued his philanthropic work, but he also faced personal challenges. The pressure and responsibility were enormous, and he began to feel the weight of stress. Emily noticed his exhaustion and decided to intervene. "James, you need to take care of yourself too. There's no point in helping others if you're not well," she said with concern. "I know, Emily, but it's hard to slow down when there's so much to be done," James replied, sighing. They decided to take some time for themselves, traveling to the island they bought years before. There, James found a space to reflect and reconnect with himself. On the island, James rediscovered the peace and serenity he so desperately needed. He and Emily spent their days walking along the beaches, swimming in the clear waters and simply enjoying each other's company. "Emily, you were right. I needed this. It's like my body and mind are recovering," James said gratefully. "You're an incredible man, James, but even the strongest need rest," Emily replied, smiling. James returned from this trip rejuvenated, with a new perspective on the balance between work and personal life. He implemented changes in his routine and in the management of the Institute to ensure he could continue his work without burning out. With his renewed energy, James began exploring new areas of focus for the Bennett Institute. He recognized the importance of incorporating technology into education and sustainability, and decided to invest in innovative initiatives. We need to prepare future generations for a digital world. Technology can be a powerful tool for education, James said during a meeting with his team. This can transform the way children learn and connect with the world. It's a fantastic vision, agreed one of the Institute's directors. James launched online learning programs, providing laptops and internet access to underserved communities. He also initiated partnerships with technology companies to develop educational apps that could be used by children and adults. With these resources, we can ensure no one is left behind. Education is a right, not a privilege, James said during the program's launch. The impact was immediate and transformative. Children who previously had no access to quality education could now learn interactively and engagingly. Entire families began to see a brighter future unfolding before their eyes. James and Emily decided to visit James's hometown again, this time with a bigger purpose. He wanted to establish a branch of the Bennett Institute there to give back to the community that shaped him. This town gave me so much. Now it's my turn to give something back, James said emotionally upon arrival. The opening of the branch was a landmark event, attended by old friends and new beneficiaries. James gave a speech, emphasizing the importance of never forgetting your roots and always looking for ways to help others. While in town, James met Sarah again. They had kept in touch over the years, but the reunion was always special. Sarah was involved in several educational projects, and James saw her as a natural ally. You always had a generous heart, Sarah. I'd love to work with you to expand the Institute's impact, James suggested. It would be an honor, James. We have so much to do here, and together we can make a difference, Sarah replied enthusiastically. James and Sarah began collaborating on various projects, from building schools to professional training programs for adults. James's hometown transformed into a model of community development and prosperity. James, you've done more than anyone could have imagined. Your vision and determination are inspiring, said the town's mayor during an inauguration ceremony. This was only possible because many people believed and came together. I didn't do this alone, James replied humbly. Years passed and James continued his mission, always with Emily by his side. He became a respected and beloved figure, not just for his wealth, but for the positive impact he had on so many lives. On a quiet evening, while watching the sunset on the island, Emily asked, James, did you ever imagine your life would take this path after that wrong diagnosis? James smiled and held her hand. No, Emily, but I learned that the greatest blessings can come from the most unexpected moments. Every day is a gift, and I'm grateful to have shared this journey with you. And so, James Bennett, the millionaire who faced death head-on, transformed his life and the lives of many others. He proved that even in the face of adversity, true wealth lies in living fully and helping others. Years after the opening of the Bennett Institute's branch in his hometown, James received a letter from someone he never expected to hear from again. It was from an old colleague, Robert, who had been his right-hand man in the early years of his company. Robert had disappeared from the business scene after a series of misunderstandings and regrets, and was now seeking reconciliation. James, I know I made many mistakes and that our estrangement was painful. But I see the man you've become and would like a chance to make amends, Robert wrote. James, always willing to forgive and look to the future, responded promptly, inviting Robert for a meeting. Robert, we all make mistakes. What's important is to learn from them and move forward. Let's meet and talk, James said over the phone. The reunion was emotional. Robert, now an older and humbler man, admitted his faults and asked for forgiveness. James, with an open heart, accepted the apology and suggested they work together on a new project. I want to take this opportunity to build something positive, Robert. Let's combine our efforts and create a mentorship program for young entrepreneurs, James suggested. That would be incredible, James. I'd love to be part of it, Robert replied, moved. The mentorship program was an immediate success. James and Robert, with their combined experiences and knowledge, helped countless young people start their own businesses. They offered guidance, resources, and most importantly, the confidence needed for these young people to believe in their dreams. James, you are an inspiration to all of us. Your spirit of generosity and resilience shows us that it's possible to overcome any obstacle, said one of the young mentees during a graduation ceremony. You are the future, and I'm here to support every step of this journey, James replied, smiling with pride. Years passed, and James continued his mission tirelessly. He became an icon of philanthropy and innovation, known and respected worldwide. The Bennett Institute expanded to several countries, impacting millions of lives. James, you've achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Your work is a true legacy of love and compassion, said a journalist during an interview. I didn't do anything alone. It was the support and collaboration of many that made this possible. And for that I am eternally grateful, James replied humbly. James and Emily, now older, decided to take one last great trip together. They wanted to visit all the places they had impacted with their work and see firsthand the fruits of their efforts. Emily, this will be our last great adventure. I want to see the world we helped build, James said, his eyes shining. It will be wonderful, James. Let's see the impact of our love and dedication, Emily replied, holding his hand. They traveled to Africa, Asia, Europe, and the Americas, meeting transformed communities and people whose lives had been touched by their work. Each encounter was a reaffirmation of the positive impact they had left in the world. Upon returning home, James and Emily decided to organize a grand celebration to mark their journey and the impact of their work. They invited friends, family, partners, and beneficiaries of the Bennett Institute for an unforgettable event. We want to celebrate life, love, and the impact all of you helped create, James said as he opened the celebration. The party was a celebration of love, gratitude, and joy. People from all over the world shared stories of how James and Emily had touched their lives. There was laughter, tears, and a deep sense of community and connection. On the night after the celebration, James and Emily sat on their porch looking at the stars. Emily, our life has been an incredible journey. We faced challenges, overcame obstacles, and created something that will continue to live on long after us, James said emotionally. Yes, James. And all of this was possible because we faced everything together with love and determination, Emily replied, holding his hand. They remained silent, appreciating the tranquility of the night and the feeling of a mission accomplished. James knew that his legacy was secure and that, through his work, he would continue to impact the world in ways he could not even imagine. A few years later, James, now quite old, felt that his time was coming to an end. He was at peace, surrounded by his family and friends, knowing he had lived a full and meaningful life. Emily, I'm ready. I feel my mission here is complete, James said in a whisper, holding his wife's hand. You were an incredible man, James, and I'm the luckiest person in the world to have shared this journey with you, Emily replied, tears in her eyes. James took his last breath, surrounded by the love and gratitude of everyone who knew him. He passed away in peace, knowing that his legacy would live on forever. After James's death, Emily and the children continued the work of the Bennett Institute, honoring the legacy of the man who had transformed their lives and the world around them. The Institute grew even more, expanding its programs and reaching new frontiers. James showed us that true wealth lies in making a difference in people's lives, and that's what we will continue to do, Emily said during a ceremony in James's honor. James Bennett's legacy lived on through every life he touched, every child educated, every community strengthened, and every dream realized. He proved that with love, determination, and generosity, it is possible to transform the world and leave an indelible mark on humanity.